Welcome to Fluxedo Junction. I'm Scott Kuchler. Each episode we bring you the best music of all genres from throughout the world, and this week we'll be speaking with musician and songwriter Todd Giglio of the group The Turnback. Having recorded 3 full-length albums, various singles, and having played the famed Cavern Club in Liverpool, The Turnback have returned with a new single and an accompanying music video. So let's start there. Here's the new single from The Turnback called Broken String Guitar, here on Fluxedo Junction.
Young, I had my whole life figured out. I would be a star. I'd live in a big old fancy house, drive a fancy car. I knew where I was going far. I could be like the king of rock and roll, or the man in black. I could sound like the sounds I heard many years back. Whatever they seem to have, I seem to lack. I tried with song, I tried with heart. I tried again at the end of every start. If trying is winning, on top of the chart. And with time we come to realize exactly where we are. At the bottom of a glass, in another empty bar. I hide all regrets behind a broken string guitar. I tried with song, I tried with heart. I tried again at the end of every start. If trying is winning, on top of the chart. I'm really good at making bad decisions. Always puts me into bad positions. Now my body's worn, my mind is shot. Tried with heart. I tried again at the end of every start. If trying is winning, on top of the chart. If trying is winning, on top of the chart. Is winning on top of the chart.
Well, welcome to the program once again. It's been a long time, but I have to say I was thrilled when I saw that there was a new single out called Broken String Guitar. And this is following a single that was released in 2023, which was Getting Ready for Yesterday. And I was wondering if you could sort of detail the process through which you decided to start releasing individual singles. You're not the only artist I know who's been doing this, actually. And what do you owe the change in approach to?
I would actually have to say the pandemic really changed the approach to releasing music. Trying to get together as a band to record, to write, became almost a possibility due to constraints of distance, time, and instead of just sitting around doing nothing, I have a studio at my house. I'm like, well, we work on some ideas and go from there and see if I can turn them into a song, which happened, of course, with Getting Ready for Yesterday, as well as Broken String Guitar. So really, that kind of pushed me towards to release singles. If we try to do an album, it might take 10 years to put an album on. I didn't really want to do that.
Yeah, it makes sense, and especially it makes sense with regards to the way people consume music these days, I guess. I mean, I'm as big of a music nerd as anyone I can think of, but these days even I'm hard-pressed to be listening to an album from beginning to end, although I do try and make a point of doing that. But still, more often than not, I'm just listening, on shuffle while I'm commuting. And it almost feels like it's a throwback to the way that the music industry was in the 50s and early 60s, sort of a singles market-driven kind of thing.
Yeah, very true. And that's ironic is people do consume music by singles now and shuffle. Now, when I used to put our albums out, I always did it like traditional albums. So it would kind of tell a story as you go through songs to the end. But now people do consume music as singles or on shuffle. So there's no correlation from one song to the next song. So honestly, it is very much like it was in the 50s and 60s where singles dominate. And that's the kind of the same approach we took on this one.
There's something to be said for both approaches, I think, because, when you think back to that singles-driven market, particularly in the early 60s, I mean, you had some brilliant singles coming out, whether it was something produced by Phil Spector or, something coming over from England from Joe Meek. There were some real gems in those singles that were being released then. But on the other hand, I do kind of miss the experience of almost like a story album going from, like, I know Lou Reed had that intention with his New York album, where it was specifically written and designed for you to listen to as if you were like almost reading a book. And I kind of love both, but I have to say that your work with the Turnback, you've excelled at both, because the new single is fantastic. I absolutely love it. I can't stop hearing it in my head.
Oh, fantastic! That's actually really good to hear. There's a sort of funny story about that one. Is whenever I visit my dad and my stepmother upstate, they're diehard country music fans. Now, I grew up listening to country music. That's my first memories for country songs, Conway Twitty, etc. And she'd always say, you should write a country song, or a country vibe type song, but still keep the Turnback influence into it, your harmonies, your melodies. And I used to say, yeah, someday I'll get around to it. And then after I put out Getting Ready for Yesterday, I was once again just hanging out, smoking a nice joint and happy, living life. And I was like, what? Let me really try to take this seriously and see if I can write a song that's more about the way I grew up, what I remember being younger. And this song came out, and boom, there it was. More autobiographical than almost anything I've ever written. Now, I do miss the album concept, because I used to love designing the artwork. I love categorizing the songs to tell a story. But doing singles allows me to make a music video, so I can still have the imagery that I wanted to put into it as well as the song. So they can both work together to create that story that the albums used to do. That's what I did with this one.
We're not in sync at all. I know the clock is lying. I'm falling deeper in a hole I dug myself. I cannot breathe, and the pressure builds up. It adds another stone upon my chest. So I force in fresh air. Let me get back to where I was before, chasing my own tail. Why does time fly when you're never done? I need an excuse for why it is or why it will be so far behind. Gotta make a move, getting ready for yesterday. Not yet resigned, making progress now, getting ready for yesterday. I think I could get to the end if I had a good idea where to start. Stop drawing blanks now. I need to push a brush across the page and paint a picture of what it will look like when I am done. Going to give myself a chance to do the things I've yet to do. I'll find a way to break out before this moment breaks me down. So far behind, gotta make a move, getting ready for yesterday. Not yet resigned, making progress now, getting ready for yesterday. I am a horse upon a carousel that moves while standing still, spun in a circle with my eyes, losing the floor, pushed to the wall. The gravity has forced me back. Full stop, now I'm back. So far behind, gotta make a move, getting ready for yesterday. Not yet resigned, making progress now, getting ready for yesterday. So far behind, gotta make a move, getting ready for yesterday. I'm so inclined, when I finally catch up, tomorrow take on today. Tomorrow take on today. Getting ready for yesterday. Now I'm ready for yesterday.
That's something that you work well with. You respond well to the visual, don't you? I mean, am I mistaken? Have you done some acting as well?
Yes, actually, I went to college for acting. I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts from Fredonia State University back in 1990. Not to show my age there, but yeah.
We're the same age.
New York City as an actor, and did a few films here and there. Did my own film back in 2010, which kind of got the Turnback started. We kind of fiddled around with different bands. Myself, Kenny Sherman, and Barry Nagel. We had been together since 1997. But then when this film came out, we had to restructure ourselves into a band that was just the three of us. Now, unfortunately, Barry hasn't had a chance to work with us over the last couple songs. And hopefully we can, once again, get the three of us to write, but that's hard to say if that's going to happen, due to locations.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I started off doing that, and I realized acting, you have to have a format to work in. You have to have a script. You have to have a director. Doing music, you can do it yourself in your own home studio with no constraints at all. You're your own producer. You're your own engineer. I mean, this song, basically, I mixed and mastered it myself. And same thing with the music video, which cost me $25 to make. I had to get a few plugins for some of the effects I wanted to use, and that was it. Other than that, it was gas money, food money, and my own time. So it allows me to do that.
Well, I love the music so much, and it always felt to me that your music with the Turnback kind of fell into the same overall general category of other, I guess, power pop would be, for lack of a better term, groups like the Smithereens or the Gripweeds or Smash Palace. I just love, and it seems like there was a lot of that happening at the time that your first release came out. I've been following you since the beginning. And I just wonder where the inspiration comes from now for your songwriting, and what is that process like?
I would say Now it's more internalized. I tend to write, especially with this song, kind of where I'm at right now. And that's the reality of being a guy that's in his mid-50s, trying to do it in the music world where it's not really about the music much anymore when it comes to mainstream. That's what I ever thought we'd be mainstream anyway. So when I write a song that makes me happy, that I want to listen to myself. As far as the audience members goes, I'm hoping they like what I do, but it really comes down to making myself happy, because honestly, I'm probably the person that will listen to it more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Not just the process of recording and mixing, but I actually do enjoy listening to my own music. I know a lot of artists don't like to say that, but I actually do.
I think every artist who says that is lying, to be honest with you, because I'm a musician myself. I do the same thing.
You can't listen to it yourself. How do you expect an audience member to really grab a hold of it and want to listen to it over and again?
Exactly.
They don't know you.
Exactly.
You should want to hear your own work. And I do, when I criticize some of the stuff I do, I'm like, oh, I could have done that better, or I should have done this. And that's always going to happen. You kind of like George Lucas, you ever put the work down and say, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And same thing goes with mixing and mastering and recording. I can always criticize anything I've done. But again, at the same time, if I'm happy working on it and internalizing where lyrics came from, which to me is just equally important as the music that goes along with it, fine. And I will spend hours and hours and hours working on a song. Nothing really comes too easy. So but don't mind the process, because again, it is a process. You're building something.
Years ago we went away as stars, fell to earth for what it's worth to find out who we are. Now we're back here once again, forget the past, what might have been. Every day is the same. Nothing's ever as it seems, and it's all beyond belief. Our life just flashes by, and it's all about relief. When I'm down is when I'm high. I believe what I believe, but it's really just a lie. Knowing when it's time to leave, when it's time to say goodbye. Don't let it be erased, and if it does get washed away, can it be replaced? Many years ago today, we were kids who learned to play, and it's all beyond belief. Our life just flashes by, and it's all about relief. When I'm down is when I'm high. I believe what I believe, but it's really just a lie. Knowing when it's time to leave, and it's time to say goodbye. As the words are laid upon an empty page, what does it mean if no one listens? Though I cannot say how all of this will end, whatever's meant to be will happen. And it's all beyond belief. Our life just flashes by, and it's all about relief. When I'm down is when I'm high. I believe what I believe, but it's really just a lie. Knowing when it's time to leave, when it's time to say goodbye.
a little bit of a danger there, though, I guess, if danger is the right word, in that, especially these days with technology advanced to the degree it has, nothing really is ever done. I mean, if you just look at that last track that the Beatles put out in December, you know, that old Lennon track, and this time they were able to run it through Peter Jackson's AI machine to filter out all that extra background noise. I mean, the recordings were so much better even than what they did with Jeff Lynne back in the 90s, and I thought those came out great. And it just made me wonder, like, you can do that with everything now, can't you? I mean, you could go back to the earliest recording from, like, the 1900s and clean that up and make it sound like it was just recorded in a way, I would imagine.
Oh, totally can. It's incredible what they can. And they can even take songs now with a simple app on your phone that will isolate the vocals, isolate the drum tracks. You can remove the drum tracks. How that technology, again, I embrace it because I love technology. I'm a tech nerd, so that's one reason why I do everything. I pretty much do everything because I can't afford to hire someone. And honestly, I don't know if I would trust them to do it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to artwork or the music videos or the recordings of it or the mixing of it or the mastering, I do all of that mostly because I have to, but at the same time, I kind of want to.
Yeah.
So I embrace all the technology. Do I feel like you should clean up everything? No. I mean, I think that was a bigger problem I had in previous recordings is I tried to make everything perfect, and music shouldn't be perfect. There should be flaws. There should be consistencies in the vocals, maybe the recording. Now, I'm not the best guitar player in the world, so I have to work hard at it. I'm not the best singer in the world. I have to work hard at it. And it does require a lot of work on my own end. But I don't want to make things perfect. I think with this song, it's probably the easiest and the fastest song I did recording-wise because I just did it. I went through it, had the whole thing tracked relatively quick. The music video I had done in a matter of like 2 days. It's just a matter of throwing it together and thinking, I want it to be me. I didn't want it to be a glossy, polished version of myself. So, could a better singer have done it? Hell yeah. But I'm happy with trying to put what I believe myself into it. And I think that's one reason this song really has kind of reached out. And people who are generally my age, younger than me, even older than me, tend to latch onto it because it's not just a story about wanting to be famous. It could be anything. In fact, the very last shot in the video is a shot of my father, and who I actually look a lot like, so it actually worked out well. And I asked him, you know, he's not an actor. He's never acted in his life. And I said to him, I'm just curious. I know I didn't give you direction. I said, just don't look at my camera, my phone. Don't look at the phone when I'm filming it. But what were you thinking? In fact, Kenny had brought this up to me and said, I'm just curious, what was your dad thinking? And I hadn't really thought about it, because I asked him. He said, honestly, I was thinking of how fast time has gone for myself, and am I at where I thought I would be at when I was younger? And again, just how fast time has gone, and I can't believe I'm at the age that I'm at right now. It's like, well, there you go, because it shows that. It shows that the great button at the end of the song video. And that's exactly what I was trying to get to. It's a reflection and a reflection. And I'm sure you get the same thing, Scott, where you look back at your life and say, damn, how long ago was that? There's math on that. You realize, wait a second, if that was 10 years ago, but 10 years from now, I'm going to be this age, it kind of scares the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's a...
It takes you.
I can't imagine a more universal theme than that. And you and I are about the same age, so I'm sure you've experienced the same thing. Look, in the 80s, I always loved music that was current while it was happening, but I also, in the 80s, was like a huge Beatles fan, and through the Beatles, I got into the Stones and the Who and Hendrix and all this other stuff that had happened years before. And I remember in 1984 thinking that 1967 sounded so long ago. And now, to me, like the 90s feel like they just happened, you know, and that's a longer period of time. That's a bigger distance of time. It's very scary.
Oh, it's funny. Something just popped up today from memories from 2004. I'm like, oh, that wasn't that long ago. I was like, wait a second.
20 years ago, yeah.
That is, yeah, you're like, what? That really, and again, I think the older you get, the faster time does go.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, and musically, I'm the same as you. I grew up listening to, obviously, country, and the very first songs I ever remember in my life, singing around the house were country songs. And then, of course, the Beatles, was Live With Me Forever. The Beach Boys are Live With Me Forever.
Sure.
And you're right, because if you look at 1984, I would have been, 10th grade in high school at that point. 20 years prior to that, the Beatles were just coming out on Ed Sullivan. And you think to yourself, okay, that did seem like an ancient time ago.
Yeah.
20 years nowadays does not seem that long ago.
No. The only thing I can attribute that to is, I guess, the leaps in technology, because the difference between 1964 and 1984 would have been immediately evident in terms of black and white television and things like that. Whereas now you look at something that was filmed 20 years ago and, I know high definition is so much better now, but something that was shot 20 years ago still looks pretty current now,
Yeah, it does.
I did have another question. I was wondering if there are more singles kind of in the tank ready to come out. Is this going to be a regular thing now?
It could very well be. I've written the last several singles, and I think Kenny's got a bunch in his pocket that he wants to explore. And of course, I told him, I'm not a person who wants to just push out songs, but if a song moves me, I definitely want to do that. And like I said, eventually, hopefully, the three of us can once again try to work on something as a band. But it's hard to say. Right now, I've got nothing in the pipeline for myself. But Ken tends to write a lot of great songs, and I'm sure he's got some there he's probably not thrilled with, and I'll listen to him dude, this is a great song. So we'll work on that. And I really would like to try to put out a music video for every single I put out. I love the process. So we'll see if that works out.
Excellent. Well, listen, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And I have to say, I've been a fan for quite some time. And it means a lot to me that you took the time to be on the show today.
Oh, anytime, Scott. I'd like to sit down someday and just grab a beer with you.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, let's make that happen. All right. Well, thank you so much. Oh, one more thing. What's the best place that people can go to on the web to find you and get more information?
They could go to our website, which is theturnback.com. It's not really updated as much as I'd like to update it, but you can check out our music videos. Of course, you can check it out on Facebook as well as YouTube. We have YouTube channels, The Turnback. And we've got numerous videos up there. If you like this one, check out the other ones. They're not going to be the same style as this necessarily, but I try to make every video unique on its own. And it's kind of a fun journey if you want to take the time to do so.
Five days a week, I make all the ends meet. 5 days a week, I do everything that's expected of me. But when I get home and we're all alone, I think about how we can make it and how I can never let go. In a while
That about wraps it up for this episode of Fluxedo Junction. Special thanks to Todd for joining us today. You can find music from the Turnback on all major streaming outlets and also on the web at facebook.com/the Turnback. You can find us on the web as well at mixcloud.com/Fluxedo-Junction or at reverbnation.com/Fluxedo Junction. My name is Scott Kuchler. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.